Congratulations to Ulrich Lemmens, who just won first national Souillac Yearlings this past weekend, second national overall when you combine yearlings and old birds. This is Ulrich's second appearance on the show. If you haven't seen the first one, I'll post a link in the description below. And Ulrich comes on and talks to us about his national victory, tells us about the pigeons. We go over a little bit about the Belgian national races, and it's a really fun episode. I'm going to show some pictures, some maps, some pictures of the birds, maps of the internet or the national race here in Belgium. And we're going to talk about the preparation of the pigeons and go over his big national victory. Thank you to Ulrich for your time. And if you're enjoying these videos, please leave a comment, hit the like button. Thank you. All right, Ulrich Lemmens, big news coming out of the national races of Souillac. We ended up getting to see each other a few weeks ago, and you were really working hard. You were putting in extra time training, doing everything you could to get the birds ready and in shape. And then a few short weeks later, here it is. Tell us about what happened.
Yeah, hello Jeff and everybody. Yeah, I won the national last Sunday, so it's nice. We already had a few top results this year. We won the national zone from Limoges. We won the national zone from Valence, and we also had two provincial wins already. So yeah, when you have that, there is only one thing left, and it's the national, and it's a dream, but. For me, it's now 10 years ago since I won one. So I was often top 10 national, but never the first national. And yeah, now Sunday we win him. So yeah, we were very happy.
So for those that aren't familiar with Souillac, we have a map that we're going to show, and it shows that the width of Belgium and the different pigeons of where they went. For you, it looks like it was 464 miles, 747 kilometers.
Yes.
So how long were the pigeons in the basket?
For those, we call that the 1 day, the long distance races. So the 1 day long distance, and we basket those on Wednesday. Yeah. So all the international races in Belgium, we basket on Monday. All the long distance races on Wednesday, and the big middle distance like Bourges and Chadru, we basket on Thursday.
So this is a beautiful blue check white flight pied cock. Tell us about this pigeon.
Yeah, he is a very late bred. He was only, I think, born in August or something last year. And in September and October, we have what we call the Tour of Belgium. And the people basket birds, and then they draw a release point. But it can be any direction, north, west, east. It's like a carnival,
Right.
but it's quite popular. But I think it's very useful to select them because you don't have the distance anymore at that moment of the year. But going north or east makes it very hard on the pigeon. So that's why I optioned to participate with those late breds in those races. So that's what he did, a couple of those in September and October. When I weaned him, I wrote him as favorite. So that's something special because like in the pass system we use from Brecon, you can make some notes. And in the note, I wrote big favorite. So that made it for me a little bit more special. Yeah, and then this year I just not slow because they were in the basket every week, but I didn't rush things. I go to sprint couple of times middle distance. And then I thought they were ready, and I basket the team to Saint-Quin, which is 500 kilometers. And he was 200 national around that from that race. And then last week, Friday, we did Limoges. He was in the top 10%. But the team was popped. It was a very easy race, and the birds didn't suffer anything. And that's why I decided to go again, because they fly now 2 times 460 miles in 7 days' time. For cocks, it's most don't do that, but they were in such a terrific shape. I said, okay, let's go.
Yeah. So let's pull this map up. So For those that aren't familiar with these national races, how many provinces are we talking about? How many
Yeah,
pigeons are we
Belgium is
talking about?
about 100 miles wide, and then it's divided in provinces, but most important in zones, in
Zones.
sections. So for the middle distance, we have, I think, 6, and for the long distance for this races, we have like 3 or 4, A, B, and C, or B1, B2, and C, something like that. And yeah, when you pull up the map, you see what I see, because normally the bird should have been released the day before. And that was with a west wind, which is very beneficial for the east side of Belgium, Limburg province, who now, yeah, now the birds were spread through the country. That was what we didn't expect, because the birds had the first 200 km were east winds, and then southwest, which is good for me.
Yeah.
So we had a velocity of almost 1400 meters a minute. And yeah, then we can follow it on annons. The arrivals, of course, when you see Vandenheden, they are 40 miles shorter than me. So that's almost an hour. And we see the arrivals, and I was like, oh, it's like I predicted it. It will be in the East Flanders and West Flanders. We have no chance today. So I was watching the Tour of France, and then I look at the annons, and I see top loft in Halle, which is straight in my line, 20 miles shorter than me or something. And I said, yeah, if they clock, I have a chance for sure for the national zone. So I run outside, I make my water fountain ready, and then I go take a leak. And while I'm taking a leak, I hear woof. I said, what the hell is that? And then you remember I have those blue nets on my
Yeah.
roof to prevent
Right.
them dropping on the roof. He went straight in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's the dark white flight. So I have only one pigeon of that color. So I immediately knew what was happening. And yeah, then emotions take over, because normally I call my pigeons in with a doorbell. I push a button and ring, ring, ring. But I was so nervous. I start yelling, come, come, come. Yeah, of course, the pigeon's scared. I lost more than a minute. And then he finally trapped, and okay, Vandenheden had a first with the old, but I was still first with the yearling. So I was happy he didn't lose too much time eventually, and lost the national. So yeah, that was quite emotional as well. It was, yeah.
So it looks like here, when you combine old and yearlings, that west of you is kind of where the birds were concentrated. So
Yeah.
what was the time difference? Let's just look at the yearlings here. What was the time difference between 1 and 2 on yearlings, first and second?
For example, because you can see that Tom van Gaver, I win with the yearlings, and Tom van Gaver, he wins second national with the yearlings, and he clocked 3:30, and I clock 4 o'clock. So my bird had more than 30 minutes more to fly. And with Vandenheden, they clocked 3:20. So that's even 40 minutes more. Yeah, that's about 40 miles difference. And then that's in the length, but in the wide, it's even more, because for me, they're on the other side of the country.
So what when you look at the race sheet, what's the time to win as far as how far? What does it show you? How many minutes behind they were from second, third, fourth, fifth?
Yeah, I don't know the minutes, but I think Tom Agavri was 2 meters a minute behind me. So I don't know. I think that's about 1 minute or 2 minutes. I have no clue. You
Very
can make the
close.
calculation, but
Yeah.
without a calculator, I am not so good in
Sure. No,
calculating.
no. No, but it's a close. It was very close.
Yeah, I think so. Of course, when he traps, there is no problem at all. Now he make it more, how you say, uh, yeah, he made it more close than it should have been. You understand?
Right. Yes. Yeah. If he would have went to the landing board and went in right away.
Yeah.
So let's tell the audience, you have the yearling category, and you have the old bird category, and you have the combined category where it combines yearlings and old birds. How many yearlings are participating in this race? How many old birds were participating in this race? How
There
many
were
total?
4,000 yearlings and 4,600 old. So almost 9,000 pigeons were in the race, spread over whole Belgium.
Wow. And of that 9,000, you were first yearlings, second overall.
Yes.
That's an
Yes.
incredible performance.
Yeah, I'm very happy. And also when you look on the map with the earliest arrivals, we are on a longer distance on the east side, so I think it was quite a performance. I think also I heard from people who were watching with Vagaveren van den Ede, they also didn't expect that there would be any birds coming over them in Antwerp, or especially not Limburg. But I'm on the border with Limburg. I'm on the most east point of Antwerp, so yeah, it was also a surprise for me. Of course, all year we had a great condition on the birds, real form. But I was hesitant because we had a few hours before the national race from Argenton, and I had my hands there. I was currently first national champion of the KBDB. Now I dropped to 8th place, and I had those 3 pigeons in the race. I didn't score a prize, so I was really, because yeah, everybody is fed the same way, same water, same food, everything. So I was like, "Ooh, okay, these are the coxes," but I did exactly the same. But yeah, okay. Also, Souillac, we had a good result, so it was just an off day for the hens in general.
So leading up to this race, and I like the name here, it says Devil Goose, right?
Yeah, it's because of the band number.
Yeah, I saw that.
Normally, I wanted to call him Favorite Goose because, yeah, also my partner before Thomas, he also watched the bird and he said the same. That's the favorite. And we both, that's why we put him in the pass system as the favorite. But yeah, but with a band number that's 666, I had to do the devil.
That's funny. I like it.
Yeah.
So what did you notice that this bird looked particularly good leading up to this? Was there any signs that this could happen whenever you're doing your exercise, you know, when the
Yeah.
pigeons are exercising training? Did you nominate this
Yeah.
bird high?
Yes, it was second nominated. But I maybe have 2 or 3 better ones, but because he's my favorite, he always get the benefit of the doubt. But the Cox got a different schedule than the Hens. I slowed them down. He only did 2 national races before Souillac in his life. And the Hens, they flew more nationals already. So yeah, the condition was great. And you know, you never know which bird is gonna be, but all year he's my favorite. And of course, on sprint you get 4 or 5 together. They don't trap well. But at one time I went to Wyon, which is for me also flying against the whole west of Antwerp, which is for me very difficult. And normally for me it's training, but you always look at the speed. And one time he didn't trap, but he could have won first, and I think he was in the top 10 of the fastest of the province. Of course, it doesn't count because he wasn't clocked, but I know that, you know. And then I said, "Ooh, could be a good one." And then on his first national race, he was immediately 200 national from, I don't know, 20,000 or 15,000 pigeons or 10,000, something like that. A good result.
Very good.
And yeah, I think he missed 1 prize this year or something. So he was very steady, also always in the prizes.
And it looks
I'm
like,
looking
yeah, go ahead.
the first 2 races of the year, but of course he had no experience as a youngster. I fly him 13th of April and 27th of April on 100 miles, and those 2 races he didn't score a prize. Probably it's the trapping also involved, but then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He did 11 races and he always was in the prizes. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those 11 being top prizes in the top 10%. He win 2%, 6%, 2%, 3%. So yeah, good pigeon. Huh?
Very good. Let's go over, can we go over his pedigree a little bit?
Yeah.
So it looks like the father is half your line, half cannibal, if I'm right. It looks like a grandson of Goose.
Yes.
And the mother is from Yellow Rose Years.
Yes, from Yali, yes. Yeah. I got a bird from yellow with a couple other ones, and I had a good one from the One Loft Racing in Hungary. They fly very well. So yeah, I always try to cross something, and Yella has been a friend for many years, and especially we have that connection of being both quite vocal and no nonsense guys,
Right.
and we both have our hearts at the US. We both love America so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, it's nice that it's a cross with Yellie's bird, and then the father, it's half brother Jake. But what I basically did, I used to have the William. He was national ace KBDB in 2012 with the youngster. Just of course, a good bird. He was national ace. But that's bred from Lichte Cannibal and Phenomeentje crossed with my strain. And through the years, I crossed those and I crossed my Goose line, and then I can bring them back together. If you study my pedigrees, I mark pink boxes, yellow boxes, and blue boxes. And the yellow and the blue is the same family. It's from the grandparents of Goose. And the pink one, that is a line of Phenomeentje Lichte Cannibal, which, that's the perfect crossing with my birds. And my best bird I had the last year was Jake. I called him after my son. And he was bred from King William, from the Lichte Cannibal and Phenomeentje line,
Right.
crossed with a daughter Goose. So what I did, I paired another daughter Goose to him. So it's basically the same way bred as Jake, the father. And then those birds I can cross back to my Goose line, do inbreeding and fly them, because you see it's 4 generations far. Yeah, and that's the tactic I do, and this year it seems to be quite successful again, so I'm happy.
Yeah. So whenever you found out that it was this devil goose that did it, did you message Yellow? Did you call him? I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, of course,
the news?
Yeah. Listen, it's first of all, it's chaos. It's you don't know what's hitting you. And my second bird from Souillac was sitting in the loft. So I go inside and I to catch him, and I see, there's another bird. I look on my system, not clocked. Now he has 66 national, but I have no clue what time he was home. And yeah, it's quite the experience.
Yeah, I saw on Facebook you said you're rarely ever without words, but that was
I talk a lot. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm loud and I'm there. So now it was for me a very emotional win. I had 2 very rough years, and also COVID. I had to sell my pigeons, went through a bad divorce, cost me tons of money and a lot of energy. You're full of negative energy. And then this year, I was all alone, focused on the birds, some pressure on it, because when people say, oh, it's starting to be less, and I was so motivated to do well again, and I had a whole new group of pigeons, because with COVID I sold all my good pigeons. So like you see, the father also is 2021.
right.
Just some eggs I pulled before the auction. So now it's selection year. So now it's more easy, because there were quite a few good birds, and the rest will go. And now I'm already looking forward to next year.
Yeah, that's an awesome story that you're able to deal with that adversity and come back from it, and to get an accomplishment like that everybody's battling for.
It's very nice. And also, again, the way it went, because we are half hour before we clocked, nobody in Belgium would have guessed the first national would be in Balen. I've done that a couple of times. I was already 4th national, I think, behind Van den Heide, when they had the first 3 or something. Also quite a performance, but you lose because of the difference. But for me, national, everybody wants to win a national, huh?
Of course, yeah. And it's so hard to do, right?
Yeah, but you can feel every week I'm having a quite good season, and every week from sprint to long distance. Like I said, I already won 2 long distance races, the national zone, and everybody you meet during the week, you will win a national, or you will be national champion. And I understand why they say it, but still, it's a week after week. You see now on Argenton, I had a terrible result for the first time this year. But yeah, you need so much luck. I think 2 or 3 years ago, I was 6 times second provincial. You know, it's like a coin and it can go that way or that way. And now this year they all fall on the right side. So that's really nice to experience.
Well, and it's like I told you when we were there, when Ken and I were there in person, is that, you're extremely competitive, so you're hard on yourself, but you're having a super season. And I know you've had some seconds and some things that you wish would have, been a little bit different here or there, but that's
Yeah,
pigeon racing, right?
but that's pigeon racing,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating. Last week I had a fantastic result with the youngsters on Malheur, and my electronic system failed. So I lose first prize, second prize, some good nominated birds that have the possibility to be national A's because it would be in the third prize in the top 1%, blah, blah, blah. And that's pigeon sport, and you're disappointed, you're angry because you can't control those things. And then in the evening, we won first provincial, blah. And then you forget everything and you have fresh energy
Yeah.
for the rest of the week. And that's the same happened this week at Argenton. I was so disappointed. And 2 hours later, you win the national and you're on top of the world,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's your Argentine distance?
575 kilometers.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then later in the evenings when the Souillac birds came, and that's
Yeah.
what so I see now. Yeah. So that's the fun part of racing there is you get multiple races in one day where
That's what I like about pigeon sport. Especially, I have a pass system from Bricon, and it makes you not needing to go to the club anymore. But I
right,
still go to the club because I like the stories.
right.
It's for example the sprint races. It's like 10 minutes, and people tell 1 hour stories about it. And that's also I had on Swassel. I had 8 birds together, and my first nominated, his first ace of the whole federation at this moment. He was there. He sees a hen and he flew away. And 15 minutes later he came in. That's kind of stories that frustrate you, but eventually it's nice, nice talk in the bar. It's
Oh yeah.
that keeps pigeon sport alive. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. The relationships you form with the people in your club and being able to communicate and talk to each other, that's important. Buddy Tim Farr that I was interviewing recently was talking about that with his club, how important it is they get along and they're competitive with each other, but it's friendly to where you're not running people off.
Course, but that's the beauty about pigeon sport. You have seen it. I made the partnership with Josh Adam. You have the first national ace KBDB last year. He's
Super
one of my
bird.
best friends, and now he was teasing me a little bit for the sprint, and I took 3 yearlings and I fly sprint against him. So now I'm in front of. He was number 2 and I was number 1, and now I think number 3 jumped over us. I don't know the score now, but normally I'm in front of him now for the championship. But now my ace pigeon didn't drop, so. And there are 2 more weekends to go, and for me at the moment is as important as winning a national, and it's only a sprint race,
Right. Yeah.
That's nice. You go
yeah.
basketing and you say, hey, I will beat you with 3 pigeons and you have no chance. And that's the beauty about pigeon sport.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun and competitive but yeah, I handled that sprint national ace pigeon super bird.
Yeah, that's
I handled his
he
father
flew his
super
son
bird.
last week for the first time on Wednesday, the first race. He won 4th prize, and now he wins again 5th prize of 1,200 pigeons. Another son of the national ace. And I had a daughter myself who wins 1st and 5th of 1,000 pigeons.
Yeah.
With 2 different hens already. So I'm also very, very excited for next breeding year when everything is organized and we can cross, and that's gonna be exciting.
And I know that I've asked you what the bird's name is. I think he just goes by the number.
Yeah, 774.
774. I handled
Normally
the
you have
father.
to do it was first kittle and then it was best kittle. Yeah, and now you have 774, but better than best kittle. It's too long to write on the pedigree,
Sure. And but I handled his father.
Yeah.
Super as well. And then was it a full brother or half brother?
Yeah. The same father and the mothers are sisters.
Okay.
That's the pigeon with 10 first, 30 times top 10, no doubles. He could have been in the Olympic rankings, but he was 100 kilometers short after 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's super blood and very good on the sprint. It'll be fun to see how you guys cross it and what you do with it. And if,
Yeah, I'm curious. Everybody is worried they can't do the distance because I fly my pigeons very hard. Josh only flies 100 and 200 miles. That's it. But my experience learned me that with some good sprint birds crossed into my gust line, I had most success. So, and the Academy pigeons, in my opinion, they're really fantastic. So, yeah, it's exciting.
yeah, I really like the way they handled and you can't deny the results of those birds either. So when
Yeah,
you,
and also the system at their fly. If you see, we here is all during the night theory and do this, do that. In the winter time, I was in a lab in Norway, making up formulas for new products. But with guys like Josh Adamy, they make some tea, some beer yeast, and that's it. A cheap bag of food, and they're racing, and that makes it fantastic. That even with that way of taking care of your birds, you can still be one of the best.
yeah, yeah, and especially just good quality pigeons, good health, and
Mhm.
let them do it on race day. Um, I see another photo here. Is this you and your dad holding Devil Goose?
Yeah.
Yeah, was he there that day? Did he get to
No,
watch?
we had birds in the race themselves. Yeah.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, then he came over when I phoned him because it was not at announced yet, because there's a small delay on it. And I phoned him. I was crying on the phone, Dad, I have one, I have one, I have one. And then you have to wait for me about 10, 15 minutes for the longest end of Belgium, if they clock or not. And then my friends from Oud-Turnhout, Bart van Oekel and Kente, they clocked very well, third and fifth national or something. They're also having a super season, but I was lucky this time I was in front of them. And yeah,
What
and
was
then
that?
the world explodes.
Yeah, absolutely. What was that moment like when he arrived and you guys got to share that moment of
Yeah, that's very
together?
special. For me, it was I get quite emotional most of the times with a win because yeah, for me it means so much. I'm so competitive, and you just want to show yourself. And yeah, for me it's top sport. You know, it's like winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And that's what happened. And then you know all the effort you put into it, and that's something that people don't realize because they immediately ask. You know that any exhibition you go or your lecture you give, the first thing they ask, what you give, but that you are, I'm at the moment from 5 o'clock until 11 in the evening on my loft
right.
doing this. Yesterday I posted a movie on my Facebook. I'm trying it's a last minute operation for my marathon team for the extreme long distance. And yeah, they need to learn how to fly during the night. So yesterday, 10:45, I had my pigeons out. It was pitch black. It was cold, little rainy. I'm sitting outside with my girlfriend, looking at them training, trying to get them in because it was the first time. But yeah, most people at 11, they're in front of the television or sleeping.
Yeah, that's what you're saying is that, from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night, you're in the
Mhm.
loft working and
Yeah,
people don't see it. You're in
no,
there cleaning, getting the birds out, getting everything set up to where they can have
Mhm.
that kind of performance. And
Yeah, and
it's not
but
just one thing.
everything,
It's a combination of everything
yeah, and
together.
what it makes it also exciting is that it can change by the minute. You know, you have to adjust to the birds, what's happening. For
Right.
example, for the biggest impact on Souillac for me was they fly the national race from Limoges last week, but they released the birds one day earlier. So they had a tailwind, soft race. Oh, they were too late. When I show you the result, you will say, oh, it was good because I'm 70 national and at 300 national, I have 50% back or something. But six national was my neighbor. So if my neighbor can clock six national, I have to be in the top 20. That's how I look at it.
Right.
Of course, to other people, it's sometimes arrogant to say, oh, with 70 national, I'm not happy, but I just want to win, you know? But the birds looked so well. They were as the same condition as I basket them. And then Saturday morning before the races were released, 5 40, I think I said, oh, I will let them train so I can quickly clean the loft. Is more easy. I let them out. I clean the lofts, new water, make the food, grit. I come outside, no pigeons after 40 minutes. I grab myself a coffee, 1.5 hour. They were gone. And I was thinking, or did they go in a release or something? Because we fly on Saturday. But yeah, at 6 in the morning, there are no releases. Well, and then they come 5 there, 5 there. They do one turn, woof. I said, whoa, they are in top condition. And that's less than 12 hours after a 400 or 500 mile race. And then I also, that's what tactics come and anticipation comes in. I said, yeah, they are healthy for sure. They have the top condition, but if they fly 2 hours, they need to recuperate from the first race, and you need to feed them for the next race. And I immediately made the decision, because normally the cocks go every 2 weeks. I said the cocks go again, and I don't let them out. So they stayed from Saturday morning. So I called them in, let's say 8 o'clock or something, 8:30. And I kept them in until Wednesday. I did a training toss of 30 miles, and that was it. So the only thing they had to do was sit in their box all week, eat and drink, eat and drink. And yeah.
It's important for their recovery, right?
Yeah, because if I would have, they train very well, but if they fly 2 hours at the house, it's too much in this time of year.
Right.
In March and April, it's nice, but now they just had 12 hours on the wing or 10 hours on the wing, and they need to do another 10 hours on the wing 7 days later. So, but then you think you make a smart decision. It's based on experience, and okay, you make the decision, they stay in. Just Avery, finish, food and water. But then you have the national race from Argenton, which is a total failure. Worst result all year. And then you are like, oh, I took the wrong decision. I should have trained them. Don't change the system. Loft fly every day. Yeah, and then a few hours later, you win the national, and I have a quite good result in general. And then, okay, it was a good decision for the cocks, but maybe not for the hens.
Right, right. And Devil Goose has his own box. We're going to show this picture here, him sitting in his box. Did he have a hen waiting for him? Is he coming home celibate?
I fly them on total widowhood, but I call it the chaos system. I just opened the door, and then, but that's something I changed this year, because for the first time in my life, I'm racing all the races. Normally, I go with the team. I choose a race and I go, but because of the late breds, where he was one of them, I took a slower program. But the pigeons are all in the same loft. And on Saturday, some arrive at 10 o'clock and some arrive at 3 in the afternoon.
Right.
And then you have to open the loft all day, and I was tired of that. And also, when the children are here, you need to go do something. So I made the decision in the beginning of the year, because you can still change it. When they come home, they straight go to their own loft.
Right.
So a bird arrives, I go in the loft and I push it to the hen section or the cock section. So all year they haven't been together when they come home from a race. They only come once a week together, and that's on Wednesday between 11 and 2, 11 a.m., 2 p.m. So about 3 hours. I open the loft. They can do whatever they like. And then I split them, feed them again, and I basket in the evening.
Well, so in Belgium, it's a bit different, because here our birds are in the basket usually one day or one night. But on the longer 600, 500 miles, they can be 2 days. The birds, will be fed in the crate at that point. But in Belgium, you can have your birds in the crate 3, 4, even 5 days at a time. One thing I learned while we were over there that was interesting is that while they're in the crate, they're only fed corn. Can you tell us a little bit about the process behind that? Because here, you feed your birds more heavy when they return to recover, and then lighter as the week goes on. Versus Belgium, it's more light to heavy, because they're going to be in the basket, and you want them to have plenty of reserve built up for however long it's going to be, right?
They just need the fats to have the distance to it doesn't matter if you fly a 1 night basket or 3 nights baskets. If you have to fly 500 miles, it's like a car. If you only put gasoline in for 300 miles, you won't be able to drive 500 miles,
Right.
But yeah, mine are now, I'm on the full box system, so they always have food in the loft, and that means they never eat a full crop anymore, and they're never heavy. In the past, I did the last day 5, 6 meals, and then they get like bombs, and the crop is full when you basket it. Now they always have a little bit of food in the crop, and yeah, then they get the corn in the truck. Last year they did an experiment with a basket mix, what they called, and I like that a lot because I was myself at the Liberation of Barcelona, and I saw them feeding. And the funny thing was they eat it fantastically well, and the only thing that was left in the crates was the maize, the corn. So,
Interesting.
but for example, on the first Limoges, the pigeons were 6 days in the basket and they arrived home in perfect condition. So, yeah, many people, many different ideas about that.
Yeah. So, but the thought process behind it is the corn keeps them from putting on a lot of weight while they're in the crate, right?
No, I think the thing behind it is cheap, is the cheapest they can feed.
Okay.
I think that because, of course, some people say corn is the best because for 100 years we give corn to our pigeons in the basket. But when I see the pigeons in Barcelona eat a variety, it keeps them going. You know, it's nice. If you have to eat 4 days after each other a steak, you're also tired of it. I personally maybe like the variety mix for the crates, but yeah, we are used to the corn for many years, so
Okay.
I don't think it's that big of an impact. The most important thing is they get water.
Right. Yeah. And so, what's next for you? I know you have to basket here just a little bit. What's coming up here that the people can look towards for what's next for you?
Um, I wanted to take a week off, but the situation is like this. My cocks, they flew now, Limoges and Souillac after each other, so they need a rest. I will not burn them out. I know it's possible, but I want to fly all birds next year, so I will give them a rest next week. But that means I have no yearlings for the long distance. So for we have a race from Brief. We basket tomorrow. I don't have. So maybe I put some old ones. And then I have my biggest issue was because my hens flew so badly on Argental, and I only have those. I don't have 50 pigeons to choose from. I have like 10 or 12 hens. That's it. And of course, not all are good ones. And I want to have them to have a rest because they flew already all the nationals week after week. So maybe the result was so bad because they're tired, but they trained more than an hour today. So I don't know. So I just made the decision. I will go 3-3-3 on those two national races because I am 8 national champion at the moment. And on another category, I am third. And you need 3 pigeons, but the best ones will stay home. But you have to, if you are there, you have to, how you say, defend yourself, you know?
Right.
It's like making a run for the playoffs.
Right.
If you're suited 9, you're gonna try to be 8 or 7, you know? And I'm not gonna just let it go because it's still a national championship. But if I'm honest, I have no chance because my team is too small. They need a rest. The good ones need a rest. The good ones failed on Argenton, so I have a lot of question marks. And most of the times I have that, I just take a break for a week, keep the birds at home or do a sprint race and try to get them going again and just relax. Also, the financial relax a little bit is sometimes also
Right.
important.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are starting with the young birds now, so that's coming up in 2-3 weeks. I don't know yet if I'm be able to compete, but they come fantastically until now. But also last weekend, not a good race for the first time. So I have also some thinking about that. And this week, my biggest focus is on the international race from Narbonne.
And what's the distance there?
That's 910 kilometers. That's overnight. I mean, they come normally in the day, but it's one, and that's the longest distance we have for yearlings.
Yeah. How many national races for the old birds and yearlings are there total, and how many are left?
Too many. No, it's a disgrace. Last week we had a national with 2,500 birds. Cahors, there were only like 3,000. They brought them back. The calendar should be reduced with 50%. But it's like everything alive. There are so many hands that needs to be filled and people who need something, and so it will never change. But also the finisher ask it. The clubs have to work hours and hours, especially with the weather in Belgium is currently very bad. So we have a lot of delays of race. Even a national race they bring back is the first time in history. So you can feel it on the club, the helpers, because everybody does it for free. There is a lot of pressure on them because we have an overloading of races. You know, last weekend, if I wanted, I could participate like in 8 different races, and then you have old yearlings, youngsters. So you have like 20 different results. It's crazy.
Yeah. So how many national races are left?
I think 3 for the long distance. So we have Saturday Brief, then we have Bergerac and Tulle, and that will close the long distance season. Friday we have Marseille, then we have Narbonne and Perpignan for the international races. So that's 3 more. And then I think the national championship stops on Bourges, and then we start with the youngsters. But when we fly the youngsters championship, we can also send old birds. So, and that's until the 15th of September. So the whole month of August, every week a national race, and then September 2 more nationals.
Wow. And so with the young birds starting to get going we're going towards the national races in young birds.
Yeah.
How many national races are there for the young birds to compete in?
I think 5. I must check. I think 5. We had 1 year, we had like 6 or 7, and then we have, originally it was always 4 every 2 weeks. But then they want more because it's quite popular and it sells well to China, and then they make more. And yeah, they keep changing it. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 national races with youngsters.
And what's the distances of the 5? Do you have that?
Yeah, for me, the closest one, the shortest one is 500 kilometers, and the farthest one is La Souterraine, 610 kilometers.
Yeah, that's. And how many pigeons are competing in these?
I think in those national youngbird races, it should be an average of 20,000 at least. We used to have, I think there was 1 year that like 80,000 pigeons on Bourges, but of course that's many years ago in the golden period. These days, people, they breed more pigeons, but we lose so many pigeons. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and you've had very bad luck with weather, and it's been a very tough year for everybody that I've talked to.
Very tough for everybody, and and when you have the wind, then the wind is like that. The wind is like that. This year, in the early stage of the season, we had beneficial wind sometimes, which is normally not. So yeah, it's a little, for the people who live on the site, it's getting also a little bit frustrated because it would be nice if we get like 1 or 2 weeks, 30 degrees east wind, then they can dominate, because normally August, September, it's mostly west-southwest wind. And then you have the other side of the country being able to win. So, yeah.
What is the plan with Devil Goose going forward?
I don't know yet. I think
still thinking about
normally goes to the breeding loft, but yeah, I have a few Chinese people interested. We are still negotiating. I don't know what to do. Of course, when you sell a pigeon, it solves everything my divorce cost. But I've been crying for 2 years against everybody. Oh, I'm without my good birds, and it's so hard not to be able to work with your best. So I think I will try to keep him. If it's reasonable, I will try to keep him. And also the nest brother I will bring to the breeding loft normally, because he also fly already a 14th national in the zone on Poitiers. So you also have a few good results. Total different shape in hand, total different body, more like Ellie's hand. The cock looks more like the father.
Okay.
And so probably breeding and then trying to make a new Goose from him, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. What does he feel like in the hand? That's something I should.
Yeah, he's quite big. I think for most people it's quite big, and he has a very, very strong back. When you You maybe saw the movie where I'm handling the bird on
Right.
Power and another
Mhm.
website. And you notice when people you have to pull those legs out for those Chinese and do like that so the tail. And when you do it with him, many people they do it with one hand and they push the tail a little bit up so the balance is good. It makes it look better. But this one you can just do, and we call it. You can put a pitch of beer on his back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, strong.
It's he is so
Right.
strong, and
Right.
yeah, he is not extremely soft, but he have a nice wing, and yeah, the eye is good, not exceptional, but yeah, it's just the feeling you have. And when I weaned him, he was so powerful that yeah, it was my favorite. And his nest brother is small, it's a very small, compact cock, just like the hen from Yelly. Yeah, but he also flies good. Of course, he didn't win a national, but
Yeah, I mean it's just a beautiful pigeon as well. So much it's so unique looking, his coloring,
yeah,
his
that makes it more
lights.
difficult because if it was been any other bird of the yearlings, I would probably already sold it, you know.
Right.
But now it's my favorite, and you want to think about the future, and I want to build again a decent team, and you need the good ones, you know.
Yeah, you have to keep the
A
good ones.
couple of weeks ago, I was in the club with Jan Hoymans. They win the national, and I say, "Oh, fantastic! Congratulations!" And he says, "Yeah, Ulrich, but you always sell the good ones." I said, "Yes, but I'm living from it, you know."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They have like Bartanukel the same. They have businesses on the side, and that of course they don't need the money to come from pigeons. But for me, it's quite simple. If I need to buy something, I need to sell a pigeon. And of course, a good pigeon sells more than a youngster.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but
Well,
I also know you have to compete with the good ones. It makes life more easy.
right. Yeah, a pigeon like this is rare. This type of performance is rare. As you said, you've been waiting for 10 years for something like this. So it would be great to see what kind of impact that he would make in your breeding loft. And but what a performance, what an amazing weekend for you, and what a great season you've been having. And I got to handle a couple of your super birds from your race team. I think one of them was triple two, maybe two.
Yeah, she was late. She arrived the next day from Souillac.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but she was injured a little bit. I think she lost some feathers here, so there is something wrong. She also did. I didn't let her out today, so
Well, she's been flying really well, having a great season too. You just,
yeah, she won the national zone until she was sixth or eighth provincial. Yeah, it's a very good pigeon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've been having a super season. I'm really happy for you. I saw in person, and I know just through talking with you how much work you're putting in and the effort. And like you said earlier, people don't see, but they
Yeah,
don't see
actually,
behind the
it's not
scenes.
work; it's a passion. You know,
Yeah,
it's you just want. But I want to compete, and if you want to compete, it all starts with what you put into it.
yeah,
We all have seen The Last Dance from Michael Jordan or some Kobe stories, and it all comes. They have talent, but they just outworked everybody,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's what I try to do.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna let you go. I know you got to go basket, and you're a busy man. Try to keep it up, and maybe some more big races are ahead for you to where we can come back on and talk more about it.
I wish if it
Yeah,
was that easy. I
yeah.
wish.
No, but I'm happy for you. Really excited. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this. And
Yeah,
let's
you're doing a great job, Jeff. I think a lot of people enjoy your movies, so
well, I
it's
appreciate
great
it.
a podcast. So I hope you keep doing it.
I'm
I
gonna
also
keep
watch them, so
Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it for sure. I think you're my first guest to come back on. This is take two, so you're
okay,
the
yeah.
first, so let's
Maybe you lose viewers now.
No, this is great. People enjoy this, and you know, whenever I talk to people about my trip to going over to Belgium and Holland and Germany and all the things I did, not a lot of people. I'm very lucky to be able to have that trip, and not a lot of people
Yeah.
are going to get to experience that. So, them learning from
Mhm.
you what a national race is, what it takes to get a
Mhm.
pigeon like Devil Goose to do what he did, all that stuff that you're sharing is really valuable information to the audience, because a lot of people aren't going to get to go over there and meet you in person and experience that. So that you willing to come on here and talk to me and to go over it like that, it's really appreciated. I really appreciate you doing that, and I know the audience does too. So, but let's keep up to date on, keep coming on, keep telling us what's going on, and keep talking pigeons. I always enjoy it. So
Yeah, me too. So
all right.
Yeah.
All right, Ulrich Lemmens, first national Souillac Yearlings. Congratulations. What an accomplishment. What a super pigeon. And we'll have you on again soon. I appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you. Yes, take care, Jeff.